Welcome back to Mars Today. This is episode 3, which I'm self-titling The Mars Square. This episode is being recorded on May the 21st, 2026 at 21:37 Mars Coordinated Time. I don't know if some of you guys heard a couple of years ago, there was a report in the news about this square that was found on Mars, and it went viral and it was reported for a number of weeks, showing a supposed square that may have been of artificial origin as they were reporting it. And I'm going to show you an image of that. Okay, so I think some of you may have seen this. It says, "Weird square spotted on Mars isn't as mysterious as it seems." Well, when I looked at it, honestly, I wasn't really that impressed. It had some interesting features. Well, it has some interesting features. I can see some straight lines. I could see two right angles, bottom left corner and a top right corner. So it might give the impression that this is a square. This was reported and it went viral, and it was even discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast. Some of you may be aware of that. So I kind of beg to differ if this is anything special or of artificial origin, but maybe it is. I'm not sure. If you look at the image, you really can't see all four corners. Like up in here, I'm not sure what this is. Down in here, you really can't see anything specific. And on this side, if you notice, it comes down and it sort of curves around over to here. So is this really a square? I'm not sure. Let's have a little bit closer look. Now, what does that have to do with today's episode? Well, I'm going to show you a square, something I found of anomalous nature. I found this a couple of years ago, and I thought it might be of interest to report on, and we'll see what you guys think. You can leave comments whether you think it's anything or maybe nothing, but I think what I'm going to share is certainly a lot more interesting what you're seeing here. Okay, the region of Mars that I'm going to explore today is a region called Atlantis Chaos. Now, I find the name of the region kind of suspect. Why would they call this area Atlantis? Does that mean something to NASA? And what is Atlantis? It's the supposed lost city. So it's basically this area over here that we're going to look at. Okay. Let's go to high view. Now, here you see a thin strip. It's a high resolution image. It covers, from what I was able to calculate, about 75 square miles of terrain on the surface. And we're going to be looking at a region right up in here. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And scroll up. So the region I'm going to share with you guys is right around this little area next to a huge crater. This could be a dried out lake bed, possibly from 100,000 to 1,000,000 years ago, and we're going to be looking at this area right in here. Okay, let's get to the first image. There you go. So here you can again see this, what looks like to me like a dried out lake bed with sand and ripples all over the place. But what we're going to look at is right inside this circle. Now, if you look closely in the circle, what do you see? A nicely well-defined square, or at least 3 sides of a square. I'm going to get you in a little bit closer on our next image. Okay, now I can zoom in here. The more you zoom in, the more blurry it gets, and I apologize for that. Anyways, the measurements I took, if you look closely here, this is about 50 to 60 feet, and it's quite well defined. It's nice and straight with a nice 90-degree angle. It goes up another 50 to 60 feet, and then you've got another nicely well-defined 90-degree angle. And then again right here, another 90-degree angle. So this is possibly or potentially of artificial origin. I can't say for sure. You never can prove these things. But if you look on the right side of the square, you can see somewhat of an opening, and you see some kind of structure that's just sitting right here. Now I've got a little bit of a better image than this where we can get in a little closer. I've tried to enhance it to improve it, but you can only go so far with these type of images. So let's look at our next one. Okay, there you go. Now have a look. Nicely well-defined square. And that is a square. Now, is this a structure right inside here? Now, a lot of this entire area to me looks highly unnatural in origin. Like even right over here and all through here, this terrain looks artificial to me. It doesn't look natural. What do you think? Please leave some comments letting me know what you think. But this part right in here certainly is the most impressive part of the image. Okay, I've got one last image to share. It's more of a high altitude, so you can see this more from a distance. Okay, so the image on the left, you can see what surrounds this area. You can see the entire, what I'm calling a dry lake bed next to this massively deep crater. This crater is, I'm not sure, several miles across for sure. I think both of them are several miles across. And then I'm pointing to the area where the square is. Again, you can see it. Okay, so that about covers today's episode. Tell me what you guys think. I'd like to see what you have to say. Just post them in the comments section. And we'll be back, hopefully, in the not too distant future. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great day.